Blacktion, all about that action. No more time for chillin' and relaxing. No more talking, time to make it happen. Blacktion, Blacktion, yeah, that Blacktion, all about that action. No more time for chillin' and relaxing. No more talking, time to make it happen. Blacktion, yeah, that Blacktion, yeah, that Blacktion, yeah.
What it do, black people, and welcome to Blacktion Plan, where we are all about your Blacktions. I'm your host, the Queen of Blacktion, of course, and I'm just too excited to be embarking on this Blacktion Plan journey with everybody. For those of you that don't know, the word Blacktion is a word that represents black action. Blacktion represents our current actions as black people, but Blacktion also represents the actions that we need to take as black people. A lot of times, black people, our actions not only contribute to our demise, but they oftentimes reveal why we are where we are and also reveal where we are emotionally and mentally. And if you have conversations with black people about why we are where we are, a lot of the times you're going to hear them speak about the government, the system, the white man's plan. So the Blacktion Plan is the new plan in place in substitute for the white man's plan, and we're going to focus on the Blacktion Plan from now on. We're going to use Blacktion Plan to analyze our own actions, to evaluate our own actions, and we're going to use Blacktion Plan to influence our own actions. If we believe in something else the way we believe in the white man's plan, I'm confident we would accomplish different results. So every Blacktion Plan, I'm going to be giving step-by-step action steps that we can take in an effort to overcome some key challenges that we are faced with as black people. For those of you who would prefer the read-only version of the Blacktion Plans, you can subscribe online at www.blacktionplan.com to the Blacktion Plan mailing list, and you will receive the Blacktion Plans every week to your inbox. And hopefully you'll still come check in with me on the video and, you know, leave a message or two under the YouTube video. And then also find Blacktion Plan on Facebook and on Instagram, and be sure to continue our conversations there. Before we get into the first Blacktion Plan, which is the Blacktion Plan Code of Conduct, I want to first recognize a few people who have been working with me behind the scenes on making Blacktion Plan happen. First, I want to recognize Mr. DeMarco Robinson out of Oklahoma City. Designs by DeMarco is the company that he operates. He does graphics and branding, and he is responsible for the Blacktion Plan logo. DeMarco was very professional. He was very prompt. The logo was done in like 24 hours, no exaggeration. Like, I paid my deposit. He sent me a rough draft. We gave him a vision of what we wanted it to look like. He let us know what was realistic. He let us know what was possible, what was not possible. He takes his craft so seriously. He was very well-rounded in, you know, working with what we wanted and also making it look good, because obviously he has a business to represent. And I just really appreciate the whole process of working with DeMarco. So if you need any logo design, if you need any graphics done, he's currently doing graduation invites and graduation flyers. If you need any of that graphic work done, check him out at Designs by DeMarco. You can see his information on the screen, and then you also find his contact information and links to his social sites in the description of the video. Next, I want to recognize my creative director, Christopher Petrie. Christopher Petrie was very influential in the design of the logo. Him and DeMarco worked very closely together. Of course, a lot of people know me. I don't really know what I want. I just kind of knew I wanted it to be the bomb. So, Christopher Petrie being my creative director, he was very influential in the design of the logo. He's very influential in making sure that I got all my T's crossed and my I's dotted, and making sure that from a creative aspect, Blacktion Plan is being represented in a way that's professional yet also creative. So shout out to Christopher Petrie. Thank you for everything that you do. youarethebottom.com, and I'm so looking forward to continuing to grow and build Blacktion Plan with you. Next, I want to shout out to my daddy. Not my zaddy. Pause. Not like my zaddy, but my daddy, my father, you know, my mother, my father, shout out to my father, because he created the Blacktion Plan jingle beat. That is such a high beat. I love the beat. It really just moves me, especially at the beginning. Doop, 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 doop. So shout out to my father. Thank you so much for everything that you do. Not even just the Blacktion Plan beat, but thank you for everything, for the insight, for the wisdom, for the knowledge, for the support, and for continuing to love me with my little knucklehead. I so appreciate you. Thank you to my life partner, my significant other, for hopping on the beat and you know, with that black shit, all about that action. Shout out to my man, because that was my man who did that. So thank you so much for being there for me in life, and thank you for being there for me in Blacktion Plan, and thank you for being willing to put in that work with me, to put in that Blacktion with me. Ladies, side note, you gotta appreciate the black men in your life, especially when you got a good black man. When you're surrounded by good black men, you gotta appreciate that. Also, shout out to my daughter, Victory. That's her that you hear on the Blacktion. Victory is so excited about Blacktion Plan and about everything that is gonna come because of Blacktion Plan that she walks around like Blacktion. So we put Victory on the song. Thank you, Victory, for blessing us with your nice, amazing voice. Last but definitely not least, thank you to Miss Kiki for doing my hair. Miss Kiki is out of Dallas, Texas, and she's currently taking appointments. She does amazing work. She's a really awesome communicator. That's one of the biggest things I love about her. And when you show up to get your hair done, you are showing up to get your hair done. You don't have to sit back and watch her do somebody else's hair because she ain't done. You know, she don't have to do a million things before she finally gets to your hair. It ain't taking her forever to do your hair. Your hair ain't gonna be super tight. You're gonna be able to move your head and do what you need to do when you're done, and it's gonna look good. She gonna do what she says she gonna do. She ain't gonna say she gonna do something and can't do it. She gonna be honest and upfront with you, and I love honest and upfront people. So ladies, if you are in the Dallas, Texas area and you need your hair did, specifically these type of little locks, I never had these before, give Miss Kiki a shout out. Give her a holler, I mean. And you can find her contact information on the screen as well as in the description of the video. All right, black people, Blacktion Plan Code of Conduct. Black people, obviously we're not treating each other the best, and how we treat each other is a reflection of how we really treat ourselves. So the Blacktion Plan Code of Conduct is going to outline some simple steps that we need to take moving forward, so that way we can treat ourselves better and we can also treat each other better. I'm going to outline these steps, and then I'm going to elaborate on each step. And make sure those of you who would prefer a read-only Blacktion Plan, subscribe online at www.blacktionplan.com to the Blacktion Plan mailing list, so that way you can receive this neat little Blacktion Plan to your inbox, and you can receive the new one each week, every week as they drop. So, Blacktion Plan Code of Conduct. What do we need to do, black people, so that we can treat ourselves better? Because it starts with ourselves. What steps do we need to take? All right. First step we need to take is loving ourselves. The word love covers a multitude of other things, so there are going to be some other words that we cover under the umbrella of love. But step one, we need to love ourselves. Step two, we need to communicate better with ourselves. Communicate better with yourself. Self-talk, yes. Step three, we need to keep it real with ourselves, okay? We need to be honest with ourselves. Step four, we need to take responsibility for ourselves. Take responsibility for who we are, okay? Step five, we need to give ourselves permission to hurt. Quit acting like we don't care about everything. Give ourselves permission to hurt. Step six, give ourselves permission to heal. Give yourself permission to heal. And step seven, give yourself permission to let go and move on. Let go and move on and find purpose. Give yourself permission to have a purpose in life. Quit saying that you wasn't put here for certain. You put here for a purpose. Okay, so let's elaborate on each of those steps. Step one, love yourself. Now, the word love covers a multitude of things. You know, what does it mean to love yourself? Well, it means to respect yourself. Well, what does it mean to respect yourself? How do you respect yourself? You have to understand yourself. You got to respect yourself enough to keep yourself out of certain situations. Well, what kind of situations do you need to keep yourself out of? I don't know. That's up for you to find out. That's why you have to understand yourself. That's why you have to get to know yourself and know who you are. Know why you are. Know what influences you to be who you are. Know what triggers you. Know your weaknesses. So that way you will know what you need to be doing and what you need not to be doing, okay? And that's how you respect yourself. Respect yourself enough to not hurt yourself or not keep triggering yourself or keeping yourself in unhappy situations, okay? And when you begin to understand yourself, you may realize some things that you don't like about yourself. And that's very much so possible and realistic, because we're all human and none of us are perfect. We all have good, bad, and ugly. And plus, it's 2019. We done got real creative with the type of stuff we do as Black people, but none of us is perfect. So when you begin to understand yourself more, then you find out those things that you don't like. It doesn't matter. It does matter, but accept yourself for who you are. And it's not that you agree with who you are. It's just that you accept yourself and you accept that as your current reality, because that's who you are. And once you get to a place of accepting it, not only can you change it, but you can forgive yourself. Acknowledgement, dang, I can't believe I did that. I can't believe I've been that person. Now you can change it. You know what I'm saying? Now you can change it and forgive yourself, because sometimes, I mean, a lot of times we have really self-destructed as, you know, individuals. We self-destruct. We keep putting ourselves in situations that we shouldn't be in. We keep hurting ourselves. We keep doing it to ourselves, wanting to believe one thing instead of believing what it really is. You see what I'm saying? So we got to forgive ourselves for doing this to ourselves. And then we have to be patient with ourselves, because a lot of us have not loved ourselves. We have not been in a situation where we've been loving ourselves and respecting ourselves. So when you get through that going through that umbrella of love, and you get down to the patience part, really be patient with yourself and understand that you haven't been there for yourself like you should have been. But that's okay, because you forgive yourself and you're going to do better moving forward. After loving yourself, the next step, you want to communicate with yourself. This is how you start that process of really healing, really learning to love yourself, get to know yourself a little more, communicate with yourself. Yes, talk to yourself. Now, one of the main reasons why you got to talk to yourself is because you have to understand this. The way your mind works, you have the conscious part of your brain and you have the subconscious part of your brain, right? And the subconscious part of your brain is in more control than the conscious part of your brain. And the subconscious part of your brain is where your feelings lie, where your emotions lie, where your instincts lie, where your habits lie. So every time you experience life you're experiencing in the subconscious part of your brain. And what happens is, consciously, what you do based on these subconscious just feelings, these feelings are normal, you know, you begin to develop a narrative in your conscious mind about what's taking place around you. The reason why it's important that you talk to yourself, because you can better tell yourself what's really going on. Because if you allow your subconscious part of your brain to make the narrative for you, if you start making the narrative based on what happens subconsciously, which is your feelings, if you begin to have a narrative based on what you feel, then you're going to confuse yourself. You got to talk to yourself constantly to remind yourself of who you are. You got to constantly remind yourself of all these principles that help us get through life. I know it's going to be hard. I know it's going to be challenging, but I got this. I got this. I've been through X. I've been through Y. I've been through Z. If I made it through that, surely I can make it through this. It's not going to be like this forever. I understand that it's a process. I'm in a process right now. I'm in the midst of a process. I'm going to get through this process. Talk to yourself. Communicate to yourself so you can pick yourself up. Okay? After you get to the point where you can start communicating with yourself and you can start being in more of a relationship with yourself, you got to get to the next step, which is keeping it real with yourself. A lot of us are lying. We are liars. A lot of us are walking around lying about who we are. And bump the fact that we lying to each other. We're lying to ourselves. We're confusing ourselves. You're lying to yourself. You're trying to make your ugly habits pretty. No, they're all ugly, all the way ugly. You feel me? Like, we have to stop lying to ourselves. We have to keep it real with ourselves about the good, bad, and the ugly. We all want to take credit for the good. Yeah, that was me. But when it comes to some stuff that you did bad or some stuff that you did to hurt somebody else, you want to not keep it real with yourself. You want to try to justify it or act like you don't care. That's not cool. That's not cool. You have to keep it real with yourself. That's going to be part of your growth. Once you get to a point where you can keep it real with yourself and you can tell yourself the right stuff, you in process, you growing. Okay? Now, you're going through life. You love yourself. You respect yourself. You communicate with yourself. You see what I'm saying? You communicate with yourself. You keep it real with yourself. But life happens and none of us are perfect. So as you go through life, the next step is taking responsibility for yourself. Okay? Keep it real with yourself. Take responsibility for yourself. When you take responsibility for yourself, you're taking responsibility for your actions, your words, and your influence in any situation. You see what I'm saying? Your actions, your words, and your influence. A lot of us don't want to take responsibility for who we are as people. You see what I'm saying? Sometimes you could just be that leader type of person and you influence others. Sometimes you'll influence them for the right reasons. Sometimes you'll influence them for the wrong reasons. It's not that you agree with your influence or how your influence impacted them, but it's about understanding and knowing yourself. Okay? And knowing how you do influence people and taking responsibility for how you do influence people. Take responsibility for what you say. Take responsibility for what you do. And take responsibility for who you are, how you influence people. When you can do that, and be in total ownership of who you are, you're in a good position, because now you're getting through life in at least more of a healthier state, right? But then you're getting through life, everything going good, and things happen. The next step, give yourself permission to hurt. Okay, now a lot of times we always go through things, and I hear so many black people, I don't care, that don't make me none, I ain't gonna lose no sleep at night, they don't pay my bills. Okay, yeah, right, all those things is true, but you still care. Don't act like you don't care, because what you're doing is you're hurting yourself. It's a counterproductive thought process. Okay, you're convincing yourself that you don't care about things that you actually care about. Now remember, the subconscious part of your brain, life and death in the power of your tongue. You're telling your subconscious brain what to do. You're telling yourself who to be. You're telling yourself how to act. So if you're telling yourself that you don't care about something that you really do care about, then you're in confusion, because naturally you care. But you're conditioning yourself to believe that you don't care. And that's not cool. So give yourself permission to care. Give yourself permission to hurt. Give yourself permission to be mad. It's okay to be mad. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to be hurt and disappointed. It's okay to be... It's not really okay to be jealous and envious, but those are real emotions that we have. So it's okay. You know what I'm saying? Give yourself permission to be a little jealous. Give yourself permission to be a little envious, because you know what? When you can acknowledge that you're a jealous person or envious person or a sad, mad, miserable person, only then will you be in a better position to fix it. But you got to keep it real with yourself and give yourself that permission first. You see what I'm saying? Now, once you give yourself permission to hurt, because the hurt, you can just stay and hurt a long time. Give yourself permission to heal. How do you give yourself permission to heal? Be real with yourself and talk to yourself. I know this is going to be hard. I know this really hurts me. I know that I'm so sad and so disappointed and so distraught about these things that continue to happen to me in life. But I'm going to be okay. I know I'm going to be okay. It's going to be a process. I'm going to be patient with myself. I'm going to continue to pray. I'm going to continue to motivate myself and affirm myself daily that I'm going to be okay. I'm going to heal. I will heal. And give yourself permission to go through that healing process. And then once you get through these healing processes, give yourself permission to move on with life and use your story for a purpose. Black people, I can't stress enough that we are codependent on one another. We thrive on each other. So whenever you get to a place in life where you are whole, you have to find your purpose and give back. We were all put here for a purpose in one another's life. Give yourself permission to find your purpose and to go be great in somebody else's life. Success is not always about what you can gain. Success is about what you can give to other people. So find your purpose, find the purpose in your pain, find the purpose in your story, and allow yourself, give yourself permission to move in that purpose and bless the other people. The other people that need you, the other people who may not have your strength. Don't get to looking down on people like you better. Go and help them find your purpose in their life. When we can get through all these steps and just keep it in cycle every day, we in love with ourselves. How do you treat yourself better every day? Love yourself, respect yourself, understand yourself, accept yourself, forgive yourself, and be patient with your process. Communicate to yourself. Keep it real with yourself. Take responsibility for who you are. Take responsibility for what you say. Take responsibility for what it is that you do. When you take responsibility for yourself, then go ahead and move on to that next step and give yourself permission to hurt. Then give yourself permission to heal. Give yourself permission to move on with life, let go, and move in purpose. Love yourself, Black people. Those are the steps. Take them every day. Marinate on them. And if you want the read only, then subscribe online at www.blacktionplan.com so you can read those, hang them up somewhere, and constantly read them daily. So, the next part of the plan, how do we treat each other better? There are simple steps that we need to take so that way we can begin to treat each other better, okay? Here are the simple steps. I'm going to go over the steps first and then I'm going to elaborate. It's really simple because once you know how to treat yourself, it's just going to come naturally that you know how to treat somebody else. But the thing is, we have learned how to treat ourselves as Black people and we're stuck. We're stuck at just knowing how to treat ourselves, and then because of the psychological disenfranchisement that have been placed in our minds and hearts from the world, from society, we just, you know what I'm saying, it hasn't come as easy for us being there for other people, you know what I'm saying, and being there for each other and treating each other good. So we need to follow these steps every day so that way we can treat each other better, because it should become more naturally for us to treat each other better. The steps that we need to take. Step 1, we need to love each other. And then under the umbrella of love, we gonna cover all the different things. Step 2, we need to communicate better with each other. Communicate more effectively with each other. Step 3, we need to acknowledge each other. We need to be more mindful of one another and be more considerate of each other. Step 4, we need to be willing to apologize to one another whenever an apology is required, because sometimes we need to apologize. Step 5 is we need to watch our approach. We need to watch our approach with each other. And then the last step is we need to help each other. Period. So let's go ahead and go over the steps. We need to love each other. In the same way we need to love ourselves and respect ourselves, we respect ourselves enough to keep ourselves out of certain situations. Now, keeping yourself out of a certain situation means that you'll keep yourself out of a situation even to where you're disrespecting someone else. So you got to respect yourself enough to respect other people. Because everything reflects back on you. So love yourself enough to love someone else, because it starts with you first. And when you can respect other people, then you can work to understand them. Like, I don't really agree with you doing, but I wonder why you do that. You know what I'm saying? I want to get to know. I want to be in a relationship with you. I don't want us to have these differences that divide us. You know what I'm saying? I want to get to know you. I want to understand you. And then once you can understand that person, you can accept them for who they are. You know what I'm saying? Without all the judgments. Because remember, we were all born into dysfunction. We're all dysfunctional in some way. And our response to the level of dysfunction that we face is different. How we show up after coming from dysfunction is different. So let's not judge too harshly. Let's accept each other for who we are. And then in times where our differences have caused us to be in conflict, and once we can go back and understand where a person was and accept where that person was, let's be willing to forgive each other and move on and be patient with the process, because it will be a process to get back to that healthy place, that comfortable place, right? So let's love each other. Let's communicate more better with each other. I think that Black people got it twisted that just because we can talk and we can articulate words, we all of a sudden think that we're masters at communication. That's not it, because communication is 2 parts. It requires talking and it also requires listening. See what I just did? I listened. I didn't say anything. I just was quiet. I was looking, because we need to learn how to listen. And it's important that we learn how to listen so that we can work toward understanding each other. We can get to know each other. You know what I'm saying? We can work toward accepting each other if we have an understanding of who one another is, But in order for us to get to a place of healthy communication, it's important that we have the ability to do the next step, which is acknowledge one another. Acknowledging one another, being more mindful and considerate of one another. We're all different people. We all respond to life differently. It's 2019. We done been through some crazy stuff at this point. How we showing up in 2019 is different. Some of us are homosexual. Some of us are lesbians. Some of us are Christians. Some of us are Israelites. Some of us are Muslims. Some of us are Jehovah's Witnesses. We're everywhere, Black people. You see what I'm saying? Some of us like white people. Some of us like Asians. Some of us don't want to be in relationships with Black people. But at the end of the day, we're still all Black people. We have to acknowledge one another for who we are as individuals. You got to be more mindful that that person is that person. You can't control that person. Don't not love them because they're different. You see what I'm saying? Don't not accept them because they're different. Be willing to acknowledge them as a person and be mindful and considerate of who they are as a person. Now, there are times where we're not that. We're not mindful. We're not considerate. We're not even nice. So the next step, apologize to each other when needed. If you're wrong, apologize. And you know when you're wrong. You don't need anybody to tell you when you're wrong. Apologize. An apology goes a long way. You know what I'm saying? And don't apologize and keep doing the same thing. Apologize and let your Blacktion speak apology, okay? Don't just apologize and keep doing the same thing. Apologize and move on the right way. And then approach. We have to watch our approach with each other. We are so busy trying to keep it so real. Oh, I'm finna give you the real. I'm finna tell you about yourself. I'm finna give you the real. That is not always healthy. Sometimes we need to watch our delivery and watch our approach. And if we're going to give anybody something real, it needs to be coming from a place of love. It needs to be coming from a constructive place. Like, I want to build you up and I want you to understand. I don't want you to suffer or hurt like this, or I don't like to see you going through what you're going through. So I'm trying to tell you something because I care, because I love you. And watch your approach in the process. No Black person that I know is receptive to people being abrasive and sarcastic and, condescending and combative and just petty. We're not receptive to that. So watch your approach when you're dealing with other people. You know what I'm saying? Watch your approach when you're dealing with your people, period. And when you get past those first steps, then you are in a position to help each other. When we can really love each other, when we can really communicate with each other, when we can really acknowledge each other for who we are, and we can start that healthy process of apologizing when we need, and we can watch our approach with each other, then we can start helping each other. Then we can start helping each other. And don't be scared to help other people. Just because you're a barber and somebody else is a barber, help that barber with his edge up in his lineup. Because what's for you is for you. And what's for them is for them. We're designed to depend on one another. So even though y'all are both barbers, trust and believe it's enough for both of y'all. Let's not be afraid to help each other. And also let's understand, like, let's not try to help each other just because we see that we need to help somebody or we want to help somebody. You know what I'm saying? Because then it's like, if you trying to help somebody who didn't ask for your help, then when they don't receive your help, you mad. Oh, well, I was trying to help you out. Well, they didn't ask for your help, so now you done made yourself mad. Help where you see not only your help is needed, but you see your help is going to be received. And that's it. That's how we treat each other better. We love each other. We communicate more effectively. We acknowledge each other. We be more mindful and considerate of who we are as individuals. We apologize to each other when needed. And we watch our approach with each other. And then we're going to be helping each other. That's how we treat each other better. That's the Blacktion plan. I hope that something in that Blacktion plan moves you to the point where you want to start loving yourself or loving other black people that look like you in spite of our differences. I want to know what you guys think about that first Blacktion plan. So be sure that you leave your questions, comments, concerns, or confusions under the video. Make sure that you do find Blacktion plan on Facebook and on Instagram and continue the conversation there if that's what you choose to do. Also, if you prefer the read-only Blacktion plan so that you don't have to watch the video, or you want to watch the video and you want to read about it after the video, subscribe online to www.blacktionplan.com to the Blacktion Plan mailing list, so that way you can receive your Blacktion plans each and every week directly to your mailbox. Remember, black people, your Blacktions speak louder than your words. What do your Blacktions say about you?
Blacktion.
Blacktion, 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 Blacktion,
Blacktion, Blacktion, yeah, that Blacktion.
Blacktion, 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 Blacktion,
Blacktion, Blacktion, yeah, that Blacktion.